move forward to the panel number 3 of today. The topic is going to be exploring the future landscape of direct and indirect taxes, trends, challenges, and strategic insights. This session will be moderated by Mr. Vaibhav Mangal, Associate Director, Taxation, Perfetti Van Melle. Let me give a small introduction about a moderator for this session. Mr. Vaibhav is a seasoned professional with more than 18 years of extensive experience in the areas of finance, taxation, and accounting in diverse industries, proficient in conceptualizing and implementing financial procedures, including tax management and compliance management, international taxation, planning and management, transfer, pricing, handling of tax litigations. Now it's time to introduce our panelists for this session. Mr. Greenize Jain, Head of Tax India and ANZ, DuPont, India. Next will be Mr. Kuldeep Rawat, Tax and Finance Controller, Euler Motors. Next will be Mr. Siddhartha Goel, Associate Vice President, Taxation, DS Group. And last but not least, Mr. Ankush Goel, Head of Tax, Wabtec Corporation. While the stage is being set up, if I ask everybody around here, did you find that all the presentations since morning we are here, everybody is here, did you find that these presentations, the insights, the knowledge shared together was worth it, everyone? Yes? Don't you think that every speaker who had stepped up on the dais and shared us such piece of information, their knowledge, their insights, their experiences, and the current, let's say, issues, the problems, the solutions to that, I believe that every speaker shall be given a huge round of applause because they are here with us and they have shared their knowledge with us. Don't you think, everyone? Yes? Should we give all our speakers a huge round of applause? Then please. And I believe a presentation is incomplete without a good audience. And I believe I have a good and an elite audience today here. So I think one clapping shall be done for the audience also, because who is speaker going to talk to if we don't have audience? So to all the audience who is present here with us, give a huge round of applause to yourselves as well. All right, with respect, may I invite our moderator and the entire panel on the dais, please. Everyone, let's welcome them with another shot of energy. Everyone, please. Post this will be the award ceremony. Right, with this, over to you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. This is Vaibhav. I have my esteemed panel. So we are going to talk about future landscape of tax. So see, when we talk about landscape for tax, I think the thing is that tax function is part of the finance function. Finance function is part of the country, and country is part of this great world, right? So the thing is that, you know, when we say tax function, and since morning we are talking about things getting changed, you know, so many challenges, issues. So why is it so? So the reason is because we are part of the VUCA world, right? I don't know if you've heard the word VUCA. VUCA is basically, you know, we are in a situation where things are changing so fast. So, for example, you know, political scenario is changing so fast, where we have, you know, US, Trump is there. He's changing the world so fast. Every morning when we wake up, you know, we don't know what will happen next, right? So things are changing so fast in terms of the trade, let's say the custom things or trade issues which we are facing. One fine morning we wake up, we come to know that, you know, that US has decided to stop trade with so-and-so country, or they put so much custom rates on the imports. Or for example, yesterday there was this news regarding the safari retreat ruling, if some of you guys know about that. So, you know, we are in a world where things are changing so fast. On the other side, we are talking about AI, we are talking about big data, we are talking about, you know, so fast things are changing across. And then we have the government, you know, who's hungry for more tax for development purposes. And, you know, on top of it, you know, the overall, the GST framework or the tax framework is all getting digitized. So within this whole scenario, now we as a finance function or a tax function, we need to manage our organizations, our systems, our processes, and that's where the whole situation or the challenge comes in. Now, if I talk about what are the three things a tax function should broadly look at, I think the first important thing is that we need to ensure the compliance and the tax risk. I think that's our bread and butter, without which I think we don't need to be there. So that's the first thing. Second thing is we need to ensure that because we are part of the business, if they want to grow, if they want to do something new, we need to help them to manage that so that it is compliant and they're able to grow along with the competition. So for example, in competition, if someone is doing something, generally in our organization, people come that so-and-so company is doing this, why can't we do it? There could be some risks around it. So then we have to say, okay, we can do this, but there are so-and-so risks. Are you ready to take those risks? So coming back to the point, we need to ensure that the organization grows, right? That's the second thing. And the third thing is, the overall, this whole scenario where things are changing so fast, where the data is required so fast, how should I put my systems in place and I get my ROI for the finance function or for the organization? So broadly, these are the three things. Now coming to the panel, I think you guys have already heard, we have a very esteemed panel. So what we are going to do is, we have some questions which we will take on behalf of the audience. You guys are welcome if you want to contribute in any of these questions, or you want to ask something additionally, you can pitch in between. Let's have a free flow session. So I'll start. Yeah, so the first question is to Greenize. Sorry.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah. Hi, Vaibhav.
So the first question is to you, Greenize. Am I spelling your name correctly?
Yeah. Greenize.
So the first question is on what are the major trends you are seeing on the direct and indirect tax, the challenges or the main things? I think broadly we discussed a lot of people, but what do you want to add additionally on that? Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Vaibhav. So I think for future, I'm very positive relating to the changes that are expected to come for future, both on the direct and indirect taxation, whether in India or globally. So I correlate this more like the change that you saw in your day-to-day world, just like for a car. So you would have seen 800, you would have seen Swift, and now you would have seen the Mahindra XC. So the change that you have seen over the period of time, I mean, that's huge. And the similar opportunities I am seeing for either for tax professionals or tax practitioners on the same side. And the major changes what I foresee for future is like first on the technology, which we have discussed, I mean, in all of the sessions, some part directly or directly touched upon. For instance, like the AI and automation that is making the big change in the taxation industry. So yesterday I was just working on the Australian side. So they have Alex bot, which resolve your queries in minutes. So that's the change that you can see for future. And that has been adopted by the Australian tax authority. The similar changes is on the e-invoicing and real-time reporting. I think we are very fortunate being in India that we have seen the invoicing already in place on the GST side, and most of the developed countries are recently introducing it. So even like Germany as a developed country, so they are expected to have this e-invoicing in 2025. So these are the changes on the IT side, and then similarly on the data analytics, the portal for digital compliance. I assume, I mean, most of you people have seen those time wherein you need to carry bulky files with all the TDS certificates and then go to the income tax authority to submit those returns. Now those days has gone, and maybe the people who are in current environment, they may not have faced those challenges. So I'm very optimistic that these IT-driven things would be very, encouraging for us to do our day-to-day work for future. Now, another area I would like to touch upon is the international tax reforms. There also the BEPS project, the digital service tax, and and the recently BEPS also has gone a change, and we have seen BEPS 2.0 coming out with Pillar 1, Pillar 2 related changes. That is also taking a lot of our time, and that's very again a encouraging change. What I will say. Similarly, there are the changes on the side of exchange of information. So a lot of international cooperation has happened, and a lot of countries has now entered into specific exchange of information related agreements also. So these are also, I mean, the changes that will drive the future of direct and indirect tax. And the last change I would like to just touch upon is on the sustainability and ESG. ESG also, they have become a part of big multinationals' annual report. So those also would have a big impact on the tax matter side. And then on the environmental concerns also, we have the green taxes coming up, like the tax on pollutants, tax on, and the incentives that is provided on the renewable energy. To sum up now, what I will say, the future of tax would be more like tax efficient, IT driven, more international collaboration, and bang on the sustainability side. So these are my inputs on this, Vaibhav.
Thanks, Greenize. So my next question is on the regulatory complexity to Kuldeep. So Kuldeep, you are part of a big organization, right? A multinational or a so in terms of the regulatory complexity, we are seeing all the time that it is increasing again and again, because as I said, governments are looking for more data and more collections, and they don't like anyone to cheat or to pay less tax or to do any fancy kind of tax planning, right? So in that sense, what is your view around the regulatory complexity? How are you managing that?
Thank you. Just to start with on a lighter note, Kingsley have told that Australian authorities are using autobots for analytics. Don't underestimate Indian tax officers. They will beat it down where if they want to collect anything. And my recent interactions with the tax officers, now they are doing a heavy analytics and analytics based notices they have started to sharing to the companies. So coming to the question of your Weber, where we say how the complexity in the compliances has been in the both direct and indirect taxes. Uh, I believe that now the authorities have understand and they have realized the potential of technology in terms of putting place a right compliance system where if we give an example like e-invoice is a kind of reformation in the GST where the government authorities have anticipation of how much tax that is going to come, and based on the e-invoice data they can analyze and reach to the companies where they feel like the companies are not paying accurate taxes. So the reforms, digitalization are coming through reforms, whether we call it by through e-invoice or now the IST is coming, also the IMS is coming, and what I feel working with the big organization is being in a tax function, our majority of time spends with only data uh, sanitization and data compilation rather than being involved only 10 or 20% part which is being on the tax strategy piece. So we are chasing the deadlines and preparing the data. What we can do differently, what we have done differently over the period is we have set up RPAs where we are getting scheduler basis data on time from our ERP, and we are ahead with the return filing dates that we have this much of data where we are going to uh, how much the taxes we are going to pay, and it is not just at the time of compliance due date we are doing that exercise. So these are the technological reforms. First of all, the technological reforms are coming through the government only, and adherence to that compliances, industry will definitely add RPAs in their ERPs, add schedulers in their ERPs to keep in pace with the changes that government trying to bring in. So I believe the complexity is definitely would be there, and it will increase day by day. We see government are using their innovative changes in terms of, if we see the 9/5 amendment which has been done on the e-commerce industry, and if I talk about my interactions with the tax officers, they were heavily relying on the e-way bill data. So all now we as a tax office taxpayers, they are focusing on the tax returns they are filing, but tax officers are focusing on the e-way bill data, and based on the analytics, they are now determining the liability of the SSCs, whether they are paying accurately or not. So right, authorities, I believe at the moment is one step ahead with the SSCs. SSCs has to step up to the pace of authorities, how much of analytics and the kind of notices which are coming from the authorities. Based on that, specific industry, they have to keep their automated RPAs in place in their ERP to have a safe and accurate compliance management.
Thanks, Kuldeep. So my next question is to Ankush. You are part of a US MNC and you manage transfer pricing and other compliances in multiple jurisdictions, right? So if you would like to share some good practices with the audience in terms of, or maybe even the trends of what is happening around it, and what are the good practices which you are using in your organization or in your past experience, that will be really helpful.
I think, Vaibhav, thanks for the question. I think, I think most of my senior colleagues and also Kuldeep touched upon the need for the data integration. So I think in terms of best practices or some of the good practices, I'll say I'll probably divide it into 4 parts. The data, processes, systems, and people. So I think it's an interplay of these 4 things, right? So to start with the data, the system, I would say, I think we all have heard about technology playing important role, right, in future. I think the systems have to be the backward and the forward integrated. I think the government systems are truly integrated backward and forward, right? So I think that's what I would say we need to do. I think on our side we have a lot of forward integration as well as backward integration of IMS with the AP. I think some of them we are trying to do as we are going along. But I think there is an openness to try the newest technologies. In so far as I think data is concerned, in terms of the best practices, I think the important point is to make sure that data is clean. The data governance is very important. Your masters have to be very clean. Be it your vendor master or your HSN master, I would say that we've adopted a practice of maintaining a very clean HSN master right from day one. I can say this. We have 40,000 products across our item master, and each of them have a specific part number and HSN and the tax rate, and that's updated with every rate change. There is a periodic table which runs at the back end to kind of flash an alert in case any rate change is needed. So I think data standardization is very, very important. In terms of course, the processes, I think it's important that with the convergence of income tax, GST, and customs, right, and more data sources at the end of the government, it's important that you have that conversion as well. As very simple example would be the related party transaction, the corroboration of related party transaction in your financials, in your the RPT, in your 3CEB, as well as in your the GST filings and the AP records. So I think very, very important. You tend to miss otherwise. So I think reconciliations plays very, very important role, and therefore the processes has to be robust. Not just reconciliation just one example, but I think the processes around even for example maintaining the data. I mean, the government has everything on the cloud right now. So I would say, you know, the processes, to the extent they can, should be people independent. The data, I mean, you know, gone are the days when somebody goes and your data goes, right, with that person. I mean, try to have a cloud-based repository system all at one place. There are tools available, you know, we have so many fellow colleagues here who have presented their tools, etc. So, you know, you can pick and choose, but try to have technology, you know, partner with you. And lastly is the people, of course, you know, I think it's important to have, you know, constant upgradation of yourself and your people, and to train your staff as well as your organization. So I think these are the 4 things I would say, you know, the interplay of these 4 things is very, very important for, you know, for us to, you know, have best practices, you know, across the tax compliances.
Yeah, thanks, Ankush. So the next question is to Siddharth. Siddharth, you are part of a big Indian group into multiple businesses, right? So my question to you is regarding tax risk and tax reporting. So being part of an organization which has so multiple businesses, multiple entities, you know, how are you managing tax reporting and the tax risks?
I am continuing the point which Ankush has raised. The data is very much important. So the data security of the data is also important besides the centralization of the data. And you need to review and keep the data totally in the secured way, which can be used not for direct tax as well as for indirect taxes, and for managing, like lots of data are inflowing from various authorities to the entities, like income tax, say it is coming AIS, TIS, 26 years. Similarly in GST they are coming 2A, 2B and all those things. You have to do the reconciliations. So it's a major challenge, one for every group, big group, which have a major number of entities, number of more registrations. Then there is a automation softwares which are available nowadays market, which help us out. But again, by using them, we have to again sanitization and keeping the security of the data, that the data should be secured. And another thing is, while creating a policy or this thing, what is important is the awareness of the policy among all the stakeholders, not only among the tax team, beside other functions also. Why this data is important, why these reports are important, because you have to keep a security, then otherwise it would be a major risk. If there would be any mistake, as Ankush rightly mentioned, in case of any master, if you have created a wrong master, you may going to repeal after crores of transaction, you come to know there would be some error. Just say like some item has to be marked at a 5% GST rate, that has been mastered at 12%. You never come to know. It will going to impact you indirectly through customers, sometimes through GST authorities. So these are the inherent risks which you have to cope up, and we are managing through the AI and other things which has been coming up.
I agree. Even in our organization, we have seen, like when we are importing products, you know, because now all the custom compliances are all automated. So we have started getting queries from the custom department wherein, you know, they are asking that, you know, you have imported so and so item. Is it the right classification? And we tell them that this is the one which we use, which was used by my supplier. They say, we don't care, but so and so person is using some other one. Give me an explanation. So in a way, you know, it is important that you don't blindly follow the classifications. I'm just giving one example of your supplier. You need to be sure, because ultimately you are clearing the goods, right? So it is important that you know what you are doing. So I agree with you. I will take the next question on data analytics to you, Kuldeep. On the data analytics, will you give some example to the audience here in terms of anything which you have seen, like very specific example of the government where you have seen that they've come with some query, and how did you tackle it, or how did you use data analytics for your work, which really helped you?
Continuing from my last discussion, so the data analytics government is using, if I need to give an example, then particularly the e-way bills, where now they are identifying that how much of e-way bills we have made which are made as an other than supplies, and they're identifying, and they're specifically now they have started asking industries based on their e-way bill data, at which they already do the analytics before showing you or sending you a show cause notice or a notice that this much of e-way bill data is there, and out of which this much of numbers is of other than tax supplies, and just give us your registers where you have take back those goods which you have sent as other than supplies, like for your job work and for any other things. So this is the one aspect, one example which is coming to my mind directly. Another one is about data analytics, which is inherent in the interface, in the infrastructure of government, which is basically, if I put in a particular example, it is about the TDS compliances in terms of where now thankfully the government has removed the liability of 206 AB. Otherwise, that was a very kind of hectic exercise that needs to be done every year from the starting to end, and that kind of data analytics right at the time of, in fact, that could have been prevented if we put specific logics in our ERPs to block such kind of discrepancies right at the time of, at the entry level. And again, those analytics can be put in processes, put in RPAs, that such kind of discrepancies would have been identified at an earlier stage before you file your tax returns, right? So these kind of, and this is just, I from the very pick of the things I just, which is coming to my mind at the moment is, other than that, there are a lot of, in terms of ITC discrepancies, there are a lot of data analytics tax authorities have been doing at the moment. And if you see for any listed organization at their NSE disclosures, you can see n number of disclosures all related to their ITC non-compliances, and where the authorities have specifically asked that these number of SSCs has already been cancelled, or these number of SSCs has, in case of, now even in the credit notes, right, to just give you an example, now the data analytics with the authorities is that much level that they can analyze that if you raise a credit note to any your supplier or your customer, then they have reversed it in their ITC ledgers or not. So what I got a sense while dealing with the tax authorities is that rather than going in the rudimentary or old style of tax assessments, now they are heavily banking on analytics. They have their right resources of analytics, which feeds them the right kind of data with the right kind of industry organizations, and based on that, they are now started targeting the. And particularly, if I talk about GST, HSN data is a very huge data which the government have, and every classification issues now are based on the heavy analytics which the tax authorities have been doing. Just to give you an example, like the quantum of issue and the quantum of changes in the law is now based on the quantum of numbers, how much tax is being.
So basically, you are saying that because the authorities are able to, analyze the data, they have questions on ITC, classification, e-way bill, everything, right?
Right.
Okay, understood.
And that is, if as a tax assessee, if we can put right before while filing the tax returns, and right before the time we have with the tax authorities.
Correct.
We can do that.
Okay, so one very interesting question to you, Siddharth. In this kind of an era where you are always scrutinized, and authorities are so advanced, is tax planning dead? Is tax planning dead?
No, it's not dead.
So how can we do that? What do we need to ensure for having tax planning, because that's also one of our important roles, right?
I agree. The things are like suddenly Trump comes a day and he changes the rules. You can't predict. That's okay. But tax planning can't be end. If there is a roadblock, then there is another road which is open. We have to find out as a tax professionals which is the best route to go for it. So there cannot be any roadblock. That's an opportunity. Like if there is a changes which are coming, we should take it as an opportunity. So I would not say that tax planning now is come to an end because of this AI and other things. It will exist and it will continue because see, the basic fundamental of the taxation canons will prevail. The charges, what are the principles that will prevail. So we have to strengthen those things to have a better tax planning so that immediately whatever because nowadays changes are so frequent, you have to cope up with the updation. That's why training and updation and particularly the tax professionals is very important. To find out the road, where is the blocked and where is the way to go.
I think, yeah, you're right. Broadly, the documentation and the reason behind, because you have to have a, let's say, substance in the transaction.
Yeah.
It cannot be a dummy transaction.
Correct.
It has to be,
Yes.
it has to have a purpose, business purpose. And if you can intertwine it with the planning, then you have a better chance to survive, because authorities are very smart. They will pick it up and they will ask questions, and you need to have your documents in place and the reasons in place.
Yeah.
Right.
Because if you see nowadays all the data are sharing within the authorities also. Like GST authorities is sharing data with income tax is sharing with customs, and the data is also an again challenge. Like for example, in a large group entities, in GST they are reporting GSTR 1, which consists the turnover of the whole of the GST returns. But whereas it also consists inter-unit transaction which is within the company, but being a GST, you have to show it as a turnover. So those things would create based upon AI, those will going to create in future more litigation that you are showing less turnover. Then you have to strengthen your system so that you have a pre-hand reconciliation not on annual basis but on a monthly basis.
Agree.
I'll just like to add a couple of points. I think first on a lighter note, if the tax planning is dead, I think most of us would have to go and search for jobs. But I think
We'll not even get jobs.
yeah, I think not at this stage for sure. So so I think I think the tax planning has moved in terms of approach a little bit. That will definitely happen, because gone are the days when tax planning used to happen in the in closed doors, you evaluating transaction. I think to some extent it has moved to a point wherein the tax planning involves you reaching out to the government, getting it to an advocacy stage as well in terms of the output that you need. So I think a lot of tax planning has to partner with the government or the right channels of the government to try and get the outcome that you need. So I think that is another dimension of tax planning which was always there, but I think that dimension has become much more bigger than it used to be earlier.
Interesting. I'll take the last question and then we'll open it for any questions. So this question is to Greenize. What in terms of any important things which you want to discuss on the overall how to manage the overall expectation of the organization, as we just spoke, that on the one side organization wants you to bring efficiency, effectiveness, reduce the risk, right? And on the other side there is government which expects you to pay the highest tax. They want you to be compliant, they want the data. Just they call you and they say, sir, मेरे को 22 आपकी सारी registrations का I need this data by so and so date, right? So and so minute, and you may say that sir, I will take time, but he says, क्या बात कर रहे हो आप? You are part of MNC or you are part of such a big group. मैं आपको आपका data I can give it to you in few minutes. So then we always have that problem, because see, the thing is that we are part of the finance function, right? And the organization or the finance function has certain other KRAs, whereas we have a certain KRA. we are externalizing for the organization. So there is always a dichotomy between what we need to do and what is expected from us. And we always bring the bad news sometimes. So we are not in the good books also. So how do you manage that part? The risk part, the overall compliance with the cost efficiency, with the external world which is looking at you all the time.
So I would say, I mean, it would be more like a balance that you need to maintain between the two words, and which as a tax professional, I think you are already maintaining it. So it would be just like a simple example. For instance, you got any notice from a tax authority. There is an expectation from the tax authority, there is expectation from your management, and then you also have an expectation from your finance team to have that information and then present it with the tax authority. So importantly, what I feel, and over a period of time, it would be more like a balanced approach that you need to maintain. You need to work with your controllership team, show them the intent, why this is asked, and how best, with the limited information, we can meet the requirement of the tax authority. Similarly, you need to also assess from tax authority what is the reason for having that information and how best you can meet their requirements so that ultimately no addition or bare minimum addition can happen. And then to your management also, you need to explain how a particular environment works. For instance, like now, you work for a developed country, and therein their tax authority doesn't require the extent of information which is generally required in India. So you need to provide them also update that in this jurisdiction, the extent of information required is this much, and in this jurisdiction, the extent of information is required to that extent. So a balanced approach, I feel that can manage this all situation. And with this all IT tools, it will aid you instead, I mean, you become a slave of them.
Great, I think good answer. So I think with this we just end our session. If anyone has any comments or any questions, we can quickly take one or two questions. Otherwise, we just end here. Thank you.
Any questions? Please pass on the mic over there, please.
Hi, Ankit this side from Orion, India. So instead of a question, I would say it's that I just want to give some more inputs. So in today's sessions, we have observed that people have been talking more about the compliances, that how can we do the compliances, how can ensure the compliances on time with automations and with analytics. These are all of these are the most of the themes I would say for the today's sessions. But beyond this, what I think that why the management would like to have the tax professionals in the organization. So obviously to make the compliances, but beyond the compliances, what we can do, if we can integrate apart from the systems, process, ERP, if we can integrate with the business function. I believe that's one of the more key thing which we have to look at. For example, if the company is planning to launch some new product, right? This taxation team also has to be proper part of the business discussion so that they can give their inputs on the spot, on the real-time basis, that if we are planning to launch this product, that how much tax is going to impact. Because if it is part of the business, we can, I would say, we can invest into the, as a tax professional, we can properly give something and contribute to the organization apart from just the compliances if we are integrated to the business team, business professionals also. So, for example, if I take maybe about Perfetti have lots of different types of the products in confectionery. Some might be of the 12%, some might be of the 18% also, right? But if company is planning to launch some new product, so what's going to hit? So if the tax team is not part of those discussions, that how the business can take the decision. So that's why the taxation professional also has to be part of the business discussions properly.
So Ankit, you are 100% right. This is the way tax function should work. So in fact, when I started, I said we are part of the business, we are part of the world, we are part of the country, right? So tax cannot work separately from the organization. The other thing very important is, you know, we as tax professionals, some of us, I'm not saying every one of us, but some of us feel we are the SMEs. You know, we work in closed silos. And we say we are experts, and we ourselves close our doors, and we don't talk to business people that much. See, Indian diaspora is the way we work is we are very, you know, we want to interact with each other. We are not like Europeans or others, right? We want to speak to each other. We want to talk to each other. We want to feel each other. So for us to create that respect in the organization, we have to come out of our doors and be part of the all the discussions, and then only they will be, you know, keeping that faith in you to call you in all the meetings. And even if it's a very silly thing where even there is no tax implication, there also they will ask you, and you may find something even out of other than tax, because you are reading so much. You may have other interests. You may bring so much value for the organization, even otherwise other than tax. So important thing is, you know, being part of the business. That is the most important thing.
Very true, very true. So we must never work in the silos. All the silos has to be broken so that people can participate in each and every discussion and can contribute to the organization for their success. Thank you.
Ankit, just want to add this point. I totally agree with your point that tax team should be on top of the development which has been having in the organization. Yes, because tax has been part in each and every kind of transaction, so definitely the tax team should be on top of that. But also, if I talk about the news, if you're part of a listed entity, then any bad tax news can impact your organization on publicly, right? And
Yeah,
that
true.
has an impact in the terms of the valuation, the share prices of the
True.
organization. So most oftenly, and this is a tragedy with the tax professional, is up till something a big bad news comes, that till then compliance feels like a cost. But when you foresee that in the industry that what is being happening, and then you can realize that yes, obviously tax professionals are the forebearers with the tax authorities and with the industry to protect the organization paying the right taxes and save the organization from the kind of, I must use the word, the draconian tax policies which sometimes implemented by the tax officers. So just to add on to your
Yeah,
point.
very true. Thank you.
With this, thank you so much. Let's give a huge round of applause to the entire panel, everyone. And may I invite Mr. Sunil Arora, Director Taxation, CAST 24. Sir, please join in to present the token of gratitude to the entire panel. And can we have the certificates, please?